say that so this is my unsolicited opinion. When I first came across Octopart a while back, it was like a revelation for finding parts, for finding a lot of information, for finding lots of new suppliers. When I started with electronics, I knew Mousetrap, I knew DigiKey. I didn't, know a lot of other places to get parts. And so to me, Octopart is like, I think I said in my blurb, it's more useful than a soldering iron. I'm really not joking. It's an incredibly useful tool. And we're very lucky not only to have their gracious sponsorship of our refreshments, but to have a presentation. Tell us some more about what they do. So big round of applause for Octopart.
So I'm Sam. I'm one of the founders of Octopart. And today I'm going to talk about Octopart, and I'm going to talk about finding the electronic parts you need when you're building new devices, when you're working on prototypes, when you're doing production, all of that. First I'll start with Octopart. I'll give a little bit of a background of Octopart. I'm going to do a demo, and then I'm going to shift gears and talk about component procurement, some tips, and some best practices for getting parts for the projects that you're working on. So, Octopart. So, who here heard of Octopart before today? Okay, some people. So, a little bit of a background. So, Octopart, I started Octopart along with my co-founders back in 2006 when we were physics grad students. And we were building a lot of electronic hardware for our experiments. And we were getting really frustrated going through paper catalogs and trying to find parts on really antiquated websites back then, and it just took way too long to find the parts that we wanted. And so my co-founder Andre and I had this conversation. We were saying there's got to be a better way to do this. There should be a really easy way to find parts on the web. So what we started doing was aggregating part information and see if there was something there. And we did this while we were in grad school, on nights, on weekends, in the mornings, and then it kind of in the middle of the day, and it just kind of took over. And I ended up quitting grad school, and so did he, and Harish came on, and he quit grad school, and that's how it got started. And we've been working on it since then, and we're based here in New York City, and so, yeah, let me jump right in and show you Octopart and do a demo. Okay, so this is the Octopart homepage. It's a search box. You can put in a part number, you can put in a keyword, but I'm going to just jump right in and put in my favorite transistor, which is a 2N3904. And it comes back, yeah, another 2N3904 fan? So what we've got here are search results. In blue are the parts. On Semiconductor is the manufacturer of the first result. This is the part number, the manufacturer part number of the 3N3904 class transistor. And in green are the distributors that sell that part, along with pricing information here, stock information. You can click through to the distributor's website and buy from them. And we have relationships with a lot of distributors. So if I hit show more, you can see all of the distributors that we know about that sell the 2N3904. It's not that surprising. It's a really awesome transistor. Everybody sells it. So that's, in a nutshell, that's how Octopart works. You can also click on the part itself and see all the information that we have about this part in one place. It's a little hard to see on the projector, but this is a historical price curve. You can click here to get the data sheet. You can get a price alert if the price changes, and you can scroll down and see all of the distributors selling it. And then you also have a description. You have technical specifications, more data sheets, and images. So this is where all the information is for this part. So who has another favorite part number? 2N222. That's a really good. It's another transistor, right? Yeah, I like that too. It's a little bit higher current, I think. But, okay, you got to show me that. Okay, 2N222. Yeah, so we got results for those too. So this is a pretty basic search. This is a part number search. But let's say you don't know the part number of the thing you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for a capacitor. Has anybody here been looking for capacitors for their projects? Yeah, it's something you got to do from time to time. Let's say I want to find a 1 microfarad capacitor, and I want it to be tantalum surface mount in an 0603 package, at least up to 20 volts. Let me show you how to do that. So
X7R.
X7R? You got it. All right. So not tantalum. That's a ceramic multi-layer X7R. Okay, we can do that too. So let's type in capacitor. And so we've got over 1 million capacitors in our database, right? Now we've got to narrow this down. So we had a request for X7R, and I know that that's a dielectric characteristic of a ceramic capacitor. So we'll click on the dielectric characteristic box, and then X7R is the most popular one. So it's a little hard to see on the screen, but this is a little checkbox. So I click here, and now we're filtering on only X7R capacitors. Now we're down to 86,000 capacitors. Okay? And now let's go to capacitance. I said I wanted 1 microfarad. So set exact value, 1 microfarad. Now we're down to 2,000 capacitors. And case package, I said I wanted an 06. I wanted an 0603. But I think it's too big. Oh wait, oh yeah, here they are. There it is.
Is that empirical or metric?
It's empirical. And the voltage rating, that's right. I wanted this to be at least, this is a slider. It's hard to see on this projector. In fact, I can't even see it. So, yeah, if you could turn it, yeah, that would be great. That's great. Yeah, so there's a slider here. Anyway, we can just set the minimum voltage right here. So let's do 15 volts, at least 15 volts. And now we're down to 48 capacitors. And so this is pretty good. I think all these capacitors will pretty much do the job here. So we went from 1 million capacitors down to 48, which there's some more things we filter on, like tolerance and a couple other things, but this is pretty good. So this is how you would do a parametric search on Octopart. Yeah?
What about price now?
Price. Okay, so we can sort by price by clicking right here. And now it's sorting in ascending price. If you wanted to get like the highest price one, you could like this. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Maybe if you're looking for, anyway. So yeah, you can also sort by price. That's a really good question. Lead time and availability are, so availability we do have that information, but since there's no feature to sort on that right now, but we do have the availability information. Lead time information we're starting to get from some distributors. So additional information like lead time, minimum order quantity we show right here. So these all have an MOQ or minimum order quantity of 10,000 pieces. And there's a bunch of other distributor-specific attributes. Another one is the packaging that it comes in, whether it's like a reel or tape, whether it's like a cut tape. Those are pieces of data that we're getting from distributors now too. And I just want to do one more thing, which is show you a different way to search, which is to filter down by category level. So let's say I'm looking for capacitors again. I can click on passive components, and then single component capacitors here, and then I would go through the same exercise of filtering by the attribute bar on the left. So that's Octopart. That's the Octopart search product, which is like our flagship product. It's what we've been working on since the beginning. The second thing I wanted to show you on Octopart is the Octopart API. So it's linked right off the homepage. And the API lets third-party applications like EDA tools for doing circuit design or PLM tools, which are product lifecycle management tools to help you manage your product as it goes through the various design stages, or BOM quoting tools. They can use our API to pull up-to-date pricing and availability information from our database so that it can be used in other applications. And some examples of some well-known companies that use our API are shown up here in this little window. So Altium uses us for their supplier search. Autodesk, PLM 360 is a PLM tool. They use us for getting up-to-date pricing information in their PLM. Arena is another PLM tool that does the same, that also uses us in the same way. Upworder is another EDA tool, layout tool that uses us to get technical specs and when you're creating new parts within Upworder. And there's a bunch of other examples here too. Our documentation is really solid. It's a fully featured API. This is actually the third iteration of the API that we've done. And in fact, our search application that I just showed you is an API application. So everything that you can do in search is available through the API. Finally, I want to show you the newest thing that we've been working on, which is our Bill of Materials Manager tool. So I'll click on, well, we can get to it right from here. So it's a lightweight Bill of Materials Manager, which at a glance will help you manage your Bill of Materials for the product you're working with. And one way you can get to it is just click Upload BOM right on the home page. And I've got this Arduino BOM in CSV format. So I will upload it, and what it did is it detected the different columns in the file, and so it's recognized which one is the quantity column, which one is the part number column, and all I need to do is say I'm done. And what it's doing is it's populating the Bill of Materials Manager with the line items in that file. And the screen is very low resolution, so sorry about that, but let's see if I can. Okay, yeah, so this can at least give you the look and feel. Really, you can't really see anything. I will tell you what you would see if you were on a monitor. So this left column is the line item that was in the file. The next column are matched parts. And we have this feature here. You can see the colors. What we do is we take the part, we match it to our partner database, and then we look at the availability levels in the marketplace based on our up-to-date information that we get from distributors. And then we look at the bottom quantity, which right now is 1. So if you want to build one Arduino, the yellow means that there's enough parts in there, but it's cutting it kind of close. Green means there's plenty of parts in the supply chain. Don't worry about it. Red means that there's a big problem. So this part right here, we know about this part, but it's not in the supply chain right now. And so immediately you can see where you're going to have problems, where things are marginal, and where there's no problem at all. The next column, selected distributors. This you can add the pricing and availability numbers from individual distributors. And so right now it's loaded up with DigiKey, Mouser, and Newark. You can add you could add Farnell in there. You could add Avnet Express in there, or you could remove Mouser, and you can customize it to the distributors that you're comfortable with working with. And then in the final column, it has the distributor that you selected. And then you can optimize by price or by availability in that drop down on the top right. And then it'll add up all the prices, tell you what the BOM coverage is, and give you a price estimate. Yeah?
Is there so you said it selected a distributor for us?
Right, so here, it selects the distributors automatically based on whether you want to optimize by lowest price or or you could select a particular. You want to get everything from DigiKey. I think what's in the works is being able to select individual lines, individual distributors that you want.
Now, does that consider that you want to minimize the number of distributors to get from, so you don't have a rate of shipping cost?
Right. So that should be another element in the dropdown, minimizing the number of distributors. So like I said, we're working on a big upgrade to the BOM tool that will probably come out in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that. So this is the BOM tool. I think that's about all I wanted to do on the Octopart demo. Yeah.
Suggest alternatives for the ones in this case it is not available?
Yeah. So you can't see it, but this tiny little dark pixel here is actually a drop down, which lets you select another matching part in the line item. And so when we have multiple matches, you can change it up. Good question.
Yeah. Did you ever go to the Excel tool?
The Excel tool? No, actually, I haven't talked about that. But maybe when we have time at the end, I'll mention it. Yeah.
What's your business model?
Great.
Your site, I understand how it works from there, but where do you fit in? How are you going to get around?
Great. Good question.
I'm going to say that maybe we should save more questions for the end because we're running a little short on time. So
Okay.
And you have more in the presentation, let's make sure you get to it.
Okay. Let me. What I'll do is I'll run through the rest of the presentation real fast, and then I think we'll go right to that question. Okay, so I talked about Octopart. So I'm going to run through a couple things to think about when you're doing procurement and part selection at different stages in the product development lifecycle. So when you're in the design phase, you want to make sure that the parts that you're designing in are going to be around when you want to order them later. And that's what these acronyms are. Product change notice, PCN, end of life notice, EOL, NRND, not recommended for new designs. These are all documents that manufacturers will issue when they're warning you, don't use this part, use a different part. Keep that in mind. Avoid single sources, don't get locked up into a part that is only available from one source. Now we're in the prototyping stage, so a good place to go for parts are small volume distributors. There's also this new trend of semiconductor manufacturers starting to sell direct in small volumes. Microchip is doing it, a couple others are doing it. There's a lot of quick turn contract manufacturers that are popping up in the US. Here in New York, Refactory is a CM in Gowanus, and they can get your prototypes assembled real fast. And it's a way to quickly iterate on with your prototypes so that you can get to production. When you're in production, it depends on the volumes you're building. It's still possible to to buy online because you can get volume discounts. I'd recommend getting a salesperson at a distributor because you'll be able to get better pricing, and you might be able to negotiate better payment terms like net 30, which is better for cash management. Also, you might be able to get your contract manufacturer to do the purchasing for you, save you a lot of time and headaches. It's called turnkey contract manufacturing. And you got to make sure that when you work with a contract manufacturer, you know what happens to excess inventory, like partial reels and things like that. Sorry, I'm really rushing through this, but if you have any questions about this, we can talk about it afterwards. Also, you might run into a situation where you need parts that are hard to find. It's a tricky situation. You might be able to get them from non-authorized distributors or brokers who buy parts not directly from the manufacturer, but from excess. They get excess inventory from contract manufacturers, but there's a slight risk of counterfeiting. So that's something to be very cautious about. And that's, I really just barreled through the rest of my talk, and that's it. I just wanted to mention that if you have any questions, I'm happy to talk more after this. You can also email me, sam@octopart.com. Like I mentioned, we're based in New York. We're up by the Flatiron. We're a team of 14 right now, and right now we're looking to hire a UI/UX designer to help us really make Octopart much more intuitive to use and really have a unified design sense around the site. And so if the combination of electronics and design and dense data visualization is interesting to you, or you know somebody who might be interesting to, get in touch, send us your portfolio, jobs@octopart.com, or just get in touch with me. So that's all I've got. Thanks so much. Yeah, so let's jump in right to this question about what our business model is. So let me jump back to a search. So I did the search, was going through 904. So we saw that all of these distributors are showing up. So we have relationships with about 200 different electronic component distributors. And every time I click buy now on a part, and I go to a distributor's website, we have deals negotiated where they pay us some money. And that's the main source of revenue. We also we have banner ads, and there's other sponsorship opportunities out there, but it's the referral model.
Question? No? That's it? I need to send rush for no reason?
Okay, yeah.
So you're never involved in making the parts, right?
That's right. We never touch parts. That's right.
So why is it that I can't just buy them from your website? That's the question.
That's a good question. This is being recorded, right? Yeah. Okay. No, I'm joking. The truth is that the distributors, I think having the distributors find it very valuable, obviously, to handle the fulfillment of the parts. They're the ones that are actually taking inventory risk. They have the warehouses, and we're right now it's just much more straightforward for us to refer you to a distributor's website. I know that Amazon has that model where they kind of act as the intermediary between all of these sellers and all of the buyers. But that's really, to get to that point, you need a level of scale that is totally different.
Question in the back?
So is your desire play space, is that small to medium manufacturing, or?
That's a great question, yeah. Yeah, so the way we think about it is that typical Octopart users are design engineers coming up with new products. They're purchasers at contract manufacturers, but definitely heading towards more the smaller to mid-level manufacturing runs. So one way to talk about it is low volume, high mix. So low volume manufacturing, but a high mix of many different kinds of components on the board.
Because your revenue model is ultimately, so as a design engineer, you probably do the buy now and you get paid on that. But ultimately, when they go into production, purchase manager is not going through your website. Purchase manager is getting the bill of materials from the design engineer. Design engineer is saying, hey, buy it from Future, buy it from Avnet, buy it from whoever. And so you're going to cut out. So
that's exactly right. And that's what. Yeah.
That model works for you.
Yeah, it works for us, and that's exactly right. That's why we do focus more on from the design engineer side to the prototyping to the relatively small volume manufacturing, because you're right, those deals are happening on the phone, not on our website.
Okay, we do need to move on, I'm afraid. So
I'll be here after we talk.
And we're going for beers afterwards. There'll be plenty of time to talk shop. Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to switch over computers really fast.